Hello, 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 everybody.
We are live. Hello.
Oh, yes, we're live from Milan. Welcome to our 7 o'clock webinar today. Let's
Yeah.
wait for like a few seconds. See if
Mm-hmm.
anybody's there. Okay, nobody's here yet.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know it takes a minute or two for
Hmm,
us to see everyone that's here. Um,
sure.
yeah. So Anika, how are you? How was your weekend?
Well, this weekend, I was doing some reading. I got a lot of rest this weekend. I don't know why I was so sleepy. Like yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
I slept a lot. But then I did a bit of reading and I called up some friends and family members. So I think all in all, it was a nice
Yeah.
weekend for me. Nice, relaxing one. And you? How was your
Yeah.
weekend, Emily?
That sounds very nice. Mine was good as well, thanks. It was similar to you, a
Hmm.
lot of films, a lot of reading, some phone calls.
Mm,
It's always nice to talk to people. Um,
cool. Did you watch any
yeah.
good films?
Did I? It's
Mm.
I immediately forget what I saw. Um, nothing, nothing I would really recommend, but things I
Hmm.
enjoyed in the moment. You know. Um, I also caught up with RuPaul's Drag Race, which I always love to watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very very funny.
Nice.
Okay, and as we're showing anyone watching us, please do tell
Hmm.
us your name and where you're from. Anika, I know we did sort of
Hmm.
introductions already, but maybe
Yeah.
you can tell us where are you from?
Hmm. Yeah. Tell us about your weekend as well, what you did
Hmm.
last weekend. Okay. I was just thinking like when we have work, like when we work outside, we always complain about never having the time to do things. But then when we're
Yes.
not traveling for work, we still complain about never having the time to do things. I
Hmm.
think we're just bad at managing time.
Yeah, and humans like to complain. Complaining is one of my favorite things to do. It really is. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's
And, uh,
true. Couldn't agree with you more.
and in fact, that might come into our topic for today. There's always complaining to do when you're networking. Uh, okay, hi Monica, someone else from
Welcome.
Milan. We are also in Milan today. So maybe Anika, we should introduce ourselves at this point. So my name
Sure.
is Emily, and I work in Milan Merivieli. I am from the UK originally, from the middle of England, very very near Birmingham. If anyone knows that city. And what about you, Anika?
So I'm originally from Bangladesh, where I was born, and I used to live in Malaysia before I moved to Italy. So I've been living in Italy for 6 years now, almost 6 years, not exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to live in Rome before I moved to Milan.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
lots of movement for you.
yes,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
definitely. So today we have a business topic on networking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite important in business situations, isn't it? Been
It
before
is.
a meeting, different events.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you good at networking, Anika? Do you think?
Um, I'm probably not too good or not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't really need to do a lot of active networking for my job,
Mm-hmm.
but when I have to, I think I'm not too bad at it. What about you, Emily? Are you good at networking?
I'm like you. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm
Yeah.
not amazing, but I can do
Yeah.
it when I need to. I
Yeah.
don't like it very much. So
Right. Yeah.
I prefer to get things through who I am rather than who I know, even though I know the world doesn't work like that. So something
I
in
think
me
I'm very
doesn't like
similar to you,
networking.
Emily.
Yeah. What about you, Monica? Do you like networking? Are you good at networking?
Yeah. Oh,
Because like you said, Anika,
so
maybe some
here,
jobs need it more than others.
hmm, yeah. I would say perhaps the sales jobs really need a lot of
Mhm.
networking. Like you want to get more
Yes.
clients, you want to, yeah,
Mhm.
build rapport with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
So if you're in
marketing,
sales, this
maybe.
could be very useful. Mm, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
I
very
think
true.
being, yeah. And I think being good at networking really depends on people's personality as well. Some people are
Hmm.
just really good at speaking about a lot of things, doing a lot of small talks.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I know that
Hmm.
this job has improved my ability to make small talk. Um,
Oh,
but some people are very naturally good at it.
yeah.
Oh, thank you, Monica, for your comment. Okay,
This says,
so
I really
Monica,
like networking. In my job, networking is important and also fun. Oh, really? What do you do, Monica? I'm
hmm,
curious now. What's your job?
yeah, yeah. So I think maybe if you go to parties, that could
Hmm.
be a fun type of networking. Again,
Yeah.
as you said, depending on your personality. Okay, so I think today we will talk about asking about culture, because that can be important if you want to make conversation with people, make small talk. So small talk, we should explain also, is a very unimportant conversation. Making invitations if you have an event that you want to invite people to, and also meeting after work. We will talk
Hmm.
about. Okay, so Monica is. So remember, we need an article, Monica. So I'm an information risk management consultant. Wow, that's an amazing job title. It sounds very important. And I can imagine that networking is important for your job if you
Hmm.
are collecting information that is quite urgent.
Hmm. Yeah. So I've had a job where it was a sales job where I had to
Mhm.
do networking. I was like forced to do it because I had
Oh,
no other option. Did you ever have that kind of job, Emily?
not so much a job, but when I was at university,
Mm-hmm.
then we had to spend a lot of time with people in the same department, and
Hmm.
it was one thing I was uncertain about
Hmm.
when I was considering continuing in academia and continuing at university, because you
Hmm.
you need to do a lot of
Yeah.
networking in that job. So I was
Oh.
uncertain about that.
Hmm. Cool. Okay. So we can move. So
Hmm.
that. What topics can you speak about with a client or colleague? So we have a list of topics here that we're going to discuss.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
can talk about whether you think it's a good idea to speak about it, whether you like to speak about it, or if it's really not a good idea to speak about it.
Hmm.
So we can go over them one by one. So the first
Yeah.
is the weather.
Hmm.
I always
Yes.
thought
Well,
like speaking about the weather is like when you have nothing else to talk about, you speak about the weather.
yeah. I mean, I'm British. It's part of my
Hmm.
DNA. Um,
Oh,
you know, I said earlier, I think before anyone was here, that I like to complain. I would say that every British person likes to complain and also likes to talk about the weather. Um,
oh, really?
yeah, not in detail.
Okay.
necessarily,
Yeah.
but maybe, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
either when the conversation is struggling, if you're finding it difficult to make conversation,
Mm-hmm.
or at the beginning of a conversation, can
Yeah.
say, "Oh, the weather is terrible,"
Mm-hmm.
or maybe if someone is very far away from you, you can ask them
Mm-hmm.
how the weather is. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not my favorite topic, but it
Yeah.
is a very easy one.
Sure. And I think it's a safe one,
It
and
is.
it's a good conversation filler. So you don't want
Hmm.
the conversation completely die down. It's one of
Yeah.
those things you can throw in anytime.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's a safe
Okay.
topic. So what do you think, guys? Whoever is watching? Oh, we have more
Hmm.
viewers here now.
We
Great. So,
do. Hello, everyone.
yeah, yay.
Hmm.
Welcome. So tell us about the topics that are listed here. Do you think talking about
Hmm.
the weather is a good conversation topic? Do you talk about it? Do you like talking about
Hmm.
weather and so on?
Yeah. You can also tell us if you can think of other topics that you use when
Hmm.
networking. Because I think this list has most of them, probably all the ones I use.
Hmm.
But you can talk about other things, of course.
Yes.
Um,
So we
yeah.
can also talk about this bottom questions here while we're
Hmm.
on the topics. Like
Yeah.
which of these topics are taboo? And can you
Hmm.
think of questions for some of these topics?
Hmm. So maybe we should explain the word taboo. So this is an interesting word, um,
Hmm.
that it basically means something is socially unacceptable, and that can be a topic, it can be an activity or an idea, something that society doesn't want to think about, people don't want to talk about, and we will see examples of that as we talk
Hmm.
about this list.
Yep.
So, Anika, maybe we should go back to one of our favorite topics, or not,
Yeah.
sports.
Yes. So let's talk about sports. Um, I must admit I don't know much about sport and I don't watch top sports at all. So talking to me about sport would be a conversation killer. Uh,
Mhm. Yes.
so we're gonna like just uh, I think after a while the conversation will die down. So there's a
Hmm.
nice expression there. Sport is a conversation killer for me. But I know many
Yeah.
people who are really into sports and they like watching them, talking about them. So
Hmm.
what about you, Emily? And this question also goes for all of you guys
Hmm.
watching.
Yeah, I think for me, unless it is something like the Olympics, that is maybe a big cultural event,
Hmm?
um, so maybe with the exception of a few events, then it's also a conversation killer for me.
Mm.
And as yeah, it's it's something that if someone talks to me about sports, we
Hmm.
we will probably not be friends. So we'll, or if it's the first thing they talk about, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
I
totally
I do
agree.
have friends who are interested in sports. You know, it does happen, but
Yeah.
probably not the number one topic that we talk about together.
Sure.
Um,
Although I remember when I was younger, my grandfather was really into cricket, so I used to know a lot of news about cricket,
mm,
and we used to talk about it during the World Cup, especially.
right, right. A good point from Beatrice here. So you could talk about the latest news. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's
Which is
either
a
some gossip
good topic
or
these
some
days.
big topics, depending on the topic, probably. Some as we could talk about later.
Oh yeah.
Do you like talking about the news, Anika?
When there's something big going on, yes, I do.
Hmm.
Um, these days, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
But in general, it depends on the person who I'm talking to. Some people wouldn't be interested in the news, so I wouldn't touch that topic. But
Hmm.
in general, yes, I enjoy it. Although
Yeah.
these days I'm trying not to check the news that much because it gets me a
Hmm.
little anxious.
Yeah. Sure.
So I've been trying
Mm,
to moderate because I've been
mm,
obsessively looking at, like, checking out the news, and now I'm like, okay, I need to calm down. No more news for me.
mm. Yeah, I think for me too, it maybe depends on how I feel that day.
Hmm.
'Cause there are some days when I can happily talk about the news, and there are other days when I just want to forget that there is a world and talk about something very simple. Um, yeah, so
Hmm.
definitely, that's a really good point, Beatrice. Thank you. Oh, you
Yeah.
have a comment from Monica also.
Ooh. So she says, I think it is useful to talk about topics like weather, music, or sport to create a closer relationship with client or colleague. Yeah,
Mm,
I agree. There's another expression you could use to build rapport, to
mm,
become closer, or to build a closer relationship, to build rapport.
hmm. Yeah, and rapport is just like a friendly relationship.
Yeah, yeah. So if you
Yeah.
have to deal with clients and colleagues, like colleagues, yeah, I think that's kind of
Mm,
natural. If
yeah.
you are dealing with clients, yeah, it's really important skill.
Definitely. I mean, clearly, Anika and I, for an example, we need a rapport at the moment because this webinar would be very difficult if we had none.
Oh yeah, you don't want to
Okay.
fight over things in a webinar.
Don't you take my comment from me? Okay. What about family? Family is an interesting one, I think.
I don't know. I tend to avoid talking about family.
Mm,
I don't know about you, but then because
yeah.
some people may not want to talk about it, so I mean, unless we're like really close and we know everything about each other, I don't like to touch on that. But if
hmm
I know that maybe someone is unwell or like something specific going on, yes, I always ask.
hmm Yeah, sure.
What about you, Emily?
Yeah, my family is very complicated in terms of relationships and
Mhm.
divorces, and
All
it's
right.
very complicated. So I normally avoid it, although I do occasionally, use comments that someone in my family has made if
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about something else. I can say, oh,
Mm-hmm.
my mom says this, my dad says this,
Mm-hmm.
but but probably not describing my family. So that's very confusing.
Can get
Um,
too personal.
yeah, it can quite quickly. Yeah. We have
Mm.
a lovely comment from Kiara here. I like this. So children are Kiara's clients. Yeah, lovely.
Oh,
Okay, so quite different from in other
yeah.
areas. So it's common to be asked very private questions like, have you got a husband? Are you pregnant? Okay. Yeah. And those questions just sound taboo in
Mm-hmm.
adults chat. Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
I think there are situations where it's okay to ask questions like that
Mm-hmm.
because someone doesn't know better and is asking very kindly, very nicely.
Hmm.
But in general, personally, I would hate questions like that. I would feel very uncomfortable. But of
Yeah.
course, if it's a child, then it's okay.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, that's interesting, Kiara. Thank you. And yeah, and how do you respond to questions like that? Do you answer them? Yeah,
Oh,
because I
yeah.
think I think personally I would answer them, but I can also imagine some people feeling
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable even when it's children.
Hmm.
That's a good point. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the next topic is a little bit similar, marriage status.
Hmm. Yeah. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I would never begin that topic.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, again, people mention a partner in
Mm.
conversation. Maybe they say an opinion that their partner has or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which I would prefer to exactly saying, um, especially in a business context, because it
Mm.
feels a bit uncomfortable if
It
someone's
really
asking
is.
you, "Are you single? Are you married?" Um, which is not a question that I enjoy at any time. Anyway,
It's
what
the
about you,
same.
Anika?
Same for me. I do not enjoy this question, but surprisingly, I have been asked that in job interviews. That
Hmm.
was really
Wow.
surprising. And then at the beginning, I used to say what the truth. Like I said what my marriage
Hmm.
status was,
Sure.
and then I was like, hey, wait a minute, it's a personal question. I don't have to answer
I
that. So and then
know.
I just laugh and say, are you supposed to ask me that? Or
Yeah, because
something, just
it's
in a joking way.
very. I find, yeah, maybe this is our personality similarities again, but
Hmm.
I find it's very easy to answer a question like that and then
Hmm.
feel uncomfortable afterwards and regret it.
Hmm.
So I think,
Uh,
yeah, the idea of of making a joke of it is probably a good idea.
yeah.
Um, oh, Kiara has answered, thank you. So I can't avoid laughing, but I definitely answer, yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
think that's what I would do with children as well, personally. Yeah.
Me too. Me
And
too.
yeah, I would feel uncomfortable just with adults, sure. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, Beatrice has also written a comment. Do you want to take this one, Anika?
Yeah, sure. So she says, if questions get too personal, I normally try to change the topic. Maybe something more general. Yeah, I think I like that
Mhm.
strategy. I think I would do the same. Or if
Yeah,
it's a very
yeah.
personal question in a job interview or something, I just try to laugh it off and also like try to
Mhm.
change the topic.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's a very scary moment, like you really,
Hmm.
it's a job interview, so have to be like really impressive. But then, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a warning sign, I think, if they're more interested in your marriage status
Oh,
than
I don't
you
think it's that.
as a
That's the
candidate.
reason. But I think
No, no, I'm sure it isn't.
for women, I think they want to know if you want to have a family and want to take maternity
Right,
leave or
yeah,
something.
sure.
So, which is not fair, I suppose.
No, no, it's not fair at all. Okay. What about salary? Salary is one personally that I wouldn't want to talk about with a client or a colleague. Um, I think I have in the past talked to colleagues about salary, but only the ones I know better
Hmm.
and after a long period of time. Um, but not in small talk, not in general networking. What about
Sure.
you, Anika?
Yeah, I would kind of categorize this as a taboo. Maybe
Hmm.
it's better to avoid.
Yeah,
Like you don't normally ask what's your salary to people.
no. Although
Yeah,
I
that would.
do, I do wonder if there's a geographical element to this, because I
Mm,
think in some parts of the world people are more direct about what how much money they have or how much money that
mhm,
they earn in their jobs. Um, but yes, in certainly in the UK in my country, it's a taboo
mhm.
pretty much.
It's the same for me. I wonder what
Mhm.
it's like for you guys, our viewers.
Yeah.
Is speaking about salary a taboo for you, for your
Hmm.
country, or is it okay to ask someone salary?
Yeah. Okay. The
Okay.
next one maybe feels more safe. Food and wine. Is
Hmm.
that something you often talk about, Anika?
I sometimes talk about food, but not wine because I do
Hmm.
not like wine. I tried to
Yeah.
like wine, but I didn't like the taste of it that much. I still have a
Hmm.
lot to learn, I guess. But yeah, food is something I do talk about sometimes.
Hmm.
And probably
Yeah.
cooking a little bit, cooking and baking.
Hmm.
What about you, Emily?
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I think food and cooking are very safe topics for me. Um, Alcohol and wine, less so, because like you, I don't know very much about it. I also feel a bit uncomfortable in some situations talking about drinking very
Mm,
much and getting
mm,
drunk. And, feels a bit uncomfortable at times.
yeah,
But food, yeah, I think everyone likes food. Everyone
sure.
likes talking, even if they don't enjoy eating food that much. They enjoy
Mhm.
talking about it or
Mhm.
preparing it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it
true.
feels very safe.
True, true. So the viewers, whoever is watching, you can also tell us about your opinion about these topics,
Hmm.
what you think is safe, what you wouldn't talk about, and so
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Do you have a go-to topic, something that you always mention in a conversation?
It's a nice expression, go-to topic.
Hmm. Okay,
Salad
so
is
we have,
definitely a taboo in Italy. Good to know. Good to
yeah,
know.
okay. Beatrice is also considered quite rude. So just remember, it's also considered. So also goes before the verb there. Asking
Hmm.
someone else's salary. Yeah, yeah. Okay, and food and wine is my favorite topic. Okay,
Oh, nice.
yeah. I imagine in Italy and other places in Europe, even more so than in my country. Anyway, the
Oh,
UK. People maybe like food, but are not famous for food in my country.
yeah.
Okay, so I
I
think
think
we're
I've learned a
moving.
lot about food when I came to Italy. When I've
Yeah.
lived in other countries before, I didn't know how to cook, and
Mhm.
I just ate for survival. Didn't know what.
So you
Yeah,
you you lived to eat. No, sorry, you ate to live,
I
and you
ate to
didn't
live.
eat to live.
Yeah,
Yeah, live to eat.
and then
Uh,
now I
mhm.
things have turned around a bit.
So we're onto the right-hand side of the screen now. So what about work experience?
Oh, I would talk about it if
Hmm.
asked. Maybe I
Yeah.
wouldn't start talking about it myself, but if someone's asked something and I could refer to a job I had
Hmm.
before where I had experienced something specific, I would talk about it.
Hmm.
And you, Emily? Would you talk
Yeah, I
about
think I'm the same. I probably wouldn't introduce the topic,
it?
but
Hmm.
I would be happy to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here's an interesting one, politics.
Oh, politics. Um, yeah, because this goes back to what Beatrice said about news, because I agree that news is a good topic. So maybe when politics is news, maybe when there is an election or
Hmm.
some big change, then maybe I would talk about it. I would probably not say anything very political myself. I would probably not say I really support that idea.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be very strongly opinionated in this context. Um, but yeah, when politics is news, it's okay. What do you think, Anika?
I totally agree. I think it's a risky topic. You don't want
Hmm.
to like get into any problems, hurting anybody's feelings or
Yeah.
something. But then, if I think about it, like a lot of some of my friends, they were really into football, and
Mhm.
football for them was a risky topic because they like different
Sure.
teams, and they would actually start
Yeah.
fighting about it, like serious
Yeah. Yeah.
fight.
No,
As
that's a
if
good point.
so, I think for some, football can be, I mean, much riskier than
Hmm.
politics to talk about.
Yeah. And maybe if you know someone a little and you have a good guess, you have a good estimate of what their views are,
Hmm.
then maybe you can judge if it's a good topic or not. But a
Sure,
complete stranger, I would probably not. I would
sure.
probably not go to politics. Um, okay, Beatrice, again, thank you. So we should avoid talking about politics. Yeah, exactly. Especially if we don't know the person we're talking to very well. Absolutely. Yeah. I think you can easily offend someone or be offended. So that kind of thing is maybe best avoided with strangers. Yeah. This also makes me think of a topic not in the list, which is religion, which comes under the same heading. For me, I would never mention religion at all, even less than politics. To me, that feels quite taboo.
Yeah, it's a very personal kind of topic.
Hmm.
Although I'm not so sure if it's like that much of a taboo because some
Mm,
people bring it up and
sure.
have had some nice conversations about it in the
Hmm.
past. I've even had one
Yeah.
lesson about it once. It was like an
Mm,
individual lesson, and the person was asking about my religion, and then we
right.
talked about his opinion. Even though we had like really different opinions,
Hmm.
I thought it worked out well.
Sure. Yeah, maybe if again, if the context is right,
Yeah, yeah,
um, or you feel comfortable. So yeah, now that you say that, I would never introduce it, but I would be
mhm.
okay talking about it if
Yeah,
someone else did, I
yeah,
think.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Same.
So these confident people who take the risks. So
Ah. So Monica here has a comment. She says, I think that in this context, talking about politics is not the best thing. Maybe you and
mm,
your client have completely different opinion and they could create some clashes. I totally agree with you, Monica.
mm,
It's a bit risky. Depends on the person who you're speaking to.
yeah. I think there was a typing error. I think it was just a typing error, but remember, create some with an O and not same in the end there. It
Oh, yeah.
creates some clashes, but I'm pretty sure that was a typing error, not um, anything else. But yeah, great comment.
Hmm.
Okay, travel plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh, I
I would
like that topic.
probably I would probably talk about travel plans. What about you, Anika?
Me too. Yeah. I think it's a good topic for me
Hmm.
to talk about where I'm going. And if the person has been there already, I could end up getting a
Yeah,
lot of good advice.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, any kind of recommendations, I
Hmm.
think, is quite a good basis for a conversation because
Agreed.
it feels quite equal. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then there's music.
Hmm. Yeah. So I am happy to talk about music, but most of the music I like is more obscure. It's not so famous. Um,
Mhm,
so I again, it's not something I bring up. It's not something
mhm.
I introduce very often. Um, because
Yep.
no one knows no one knows the bands that I like
Oh,
very often.
really? What type of bands
Usually,
do you like, Emily? I'm curious now.
oh, kind of alternative bands,
Oh,
um,
okay.
independent music. So very
Mm,
occasionally people know it, and it's very exciting for me.
mm,
But
okay.
usually no.
Wow. Imagine meeting someone who is into that kind of music. That would be really nice.
Yeah,
It was like a
it
really nice
would. It would.
conversation.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but occasionally. What
Right.
about you? Do you mention music?
Well, only if I know that the person likes similar bands or
Mm,
similar type of music as me. And
mhm.
if that happens, yeah, why not? Talk
Yeah.
about concerts and things.
Mhm.
But it doesn't happen very often, to be
Mhm.
honest. I remember once meeting someone who was a Linkin Park fan, and
Oh, okay.
somehow we got into talking about it, and then we became friends.
Right, right.
So
Okay, Beatrice says music is for me a conversation killer. Okay. Yeah, we all have those. And I do understand because with music, some people are very passionate and they get very angry about things. So it can be difficult if you are not that kind of person. Um, yeah. So I
yeah,
completely
they'll be like,
understand that,
"What? You don't
Beatrice.
like this band?"
Yeah. Okay. And the next one is very interesting. Common contacts, or another phrase that we use maybe more often in social situations, is mutual friends. We often say mutual friends,
Hmm.
which is
Oh
maybe
yeah.
more about friendship than about business contacts, but still useful.
Hmm.
Can you talk about this, Anika?
Yeah, I like that. I like this topic of mutual friends. So if
Mhm.
I have a mutual friend with my colleague, then I think it's a definitely a point of interest and something
Hmm.
to talk about.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
No,
you
I
can
have
also
made friends through talking about mutual friends. Yeah.
cool. You can also talk about events that are going on where you can meet up all together. So
Mm. Yeah, that's a good point.
cool. History. I do
Hmm.
not like talking about history. I'm sorry.
Really? Yeah. See, I do. I love talking about history, but
Hmm.
I again because I know a lot about a lot of weird topics,
Hmm.
so I don't often introduce history. I'm
Oh.
always very happy. I mean, maybe I will say I like history, but
Hmm.
not details. But I'm always
Hmm.
very happy when people talk to me about history.
Cool.
Sometimes students talk about it, and that's fine. That's the rest of the lesson, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's not
Hmm.
something that I would expect to talk about
Yeah.
when networking. Maybe another topic uh, is something like films or TV or books, other kinds of culture. I think for
Oh.
me, I'm more common than music.
Hmm.
What are you reading? What did you go to the cinema recently? Questions like that, I think, are quite common.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy those topics much more,
Hmm.
like the
Yeah.
movies and maybe even about books if
Hmm.
they're into similar type of books as me.
Mm.
Yeah. So these
Yeah,
days, for example, TV series and movies are a hot topic
they
with
really are.
everybody.
They really are very necessary topics.
Hmm.
Yeah. Is there any other topic that you like to talk about that
Mm.
isn't on this list?
Well, not that I can think of right now.
Hmm.
Mostly, I would be talking about some common interests. Maybe not so
Hmm.
common, but hobbies. Like, what do you
Hmm.
do in your free time? But I probably wouldn't use that in a business context.
Hmm.
If it's on a business context, I would talk about work probably. Like, how do you do
Hmm.
your work? What do you do? If it's the first time I'm meeting the person, if someone says, "Oh, I'm a
Yeah.
biologist," I would ask, "Okay, what do you do as a biologist? Uh,
Hmm.
what's your day like?" or
Yeah.
something.
Also, maybe something like where do you come from and your city, your local area,
Hmm.
things like that. I know
Sure.
we probably talk a lot about our home countries, our countries of origin, um, as
Hmm.
well as how long ago we moved to Milan or other places. Questions like that, I think, are very common.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So, if
Okay.
you guys want to talk about any other topic that's not on the list, please write
Mhm.
it up for us in the comment section. And in the meantime, we can move on.
Mhm.
So, here are some typical during a small talk,
Mhm.
but these questions are not in order. They're all messed up. So, you have to put them in order and create real questions.
Yeah, I
Perfect. If you
love
know the
these
answers,
questions in the wrong order. They sound so
yeah.
fun, but
Hmm.
unfortunately, English does have an order that we put these words in for questions.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Maybe what we'll give you a minute to think about this, but
Hmm.
maybe we can talk about one or two things we could mention the title here. So how about that? Personally, that's not an expression I use very much, but how about that is kind of an expression to mean wow. It's an expression of surprise. Yeah. So if for example, if you have a common contact, a common acquaintance, you could say, oh, I know Anika too," and the other person can say, "How about that?" as a way to say, "Wow." So
Hmm.
that's what this title is referring to. but
Hmm.
that's not one I personally use. Do you use that phrase,
I don't
Anika?
think so. I usually take it as an old-fashioned way of saying
Mm,
wow. Wouldn't you say so?
yeah.
It's like a little bit.
Mm. And I don't know if this is true or not, but I always think it's more American. I don't know if that's true.
Hmm.
I think many phrases that I don't
Could
use, I
be.
assume are
Hmm.
American.
Yeah, could be. I think it
Mm,
is more American. I do hear it around sometimes among my friends, but then not among my
yeah.
friends, but in the older generation, they use how about that? A little bit old fashioned, I guess. So Monica has the answer to the first question. Well done. What I think you've just oh well wait a minute. What your country is? I think the position of is has to change a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your country like?
What is your country like? Yes.
Yeah. Or most often, probably with the
I would
contraction.
rather
What?
contract.
As I just said, yeah. I think there is a time delay,
What's
so
your country like?
occasionally we say the same thing.
Well, maybe we can also discuss the answers to these questions just to
Mm.
and just in case we come up with new expressions or something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So this is maybe asking you to describe your country, maybe
Hmm.
talk about how you feel about your about your country. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very interesting that question because it can be very personal. It
Mm-hmm.
can be saying because if you have emotion about something, then you use that in the adjectives that you choose. But you could also describe it very physically and say
Yeah.
it's very green or it's very big, it's very neutral. But
Hmm.
you could say it's very beautiful, I love it as well. So it's one way you can choose how much emotion you want to display.
Yeah. And you could get creative with your answers. What about you
Yeah.
guys? So I know Monica is from Milan. I don't know where Beatrice is from. So
Mhm.
whichever city you're from, what's your city like? What would you answer to that?
Okay.
I would love your
Before
opinion.
we go to the next question, I just want to mention Beatrice's other comment. Another topic could be, I think that was a typing error, could be the differences between our jobs. Absolutely. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something that comes up sometimes. Yeah, good point there. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
So Monica has the next one. Great job. Did you see the game last night? Absolutely.
Mhm. That is not a question I have asked anyone or will ask anyone, but
Yeah.
a good question nonetheless. The game I want to mention is also the more American term. In British English, we would say the match. So, match, game, they are the same. So, you can use whatever you prefer there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing, Anika, that's not a question you also ask very often.
No, me neither. Me neither. Definitely not. Mm. Hmm.
For me, it's more often you can use a similar question for particular TV episodes.
Hmm.
Occasionally, if everyone is watching something,
Hmm.
did you see? Let's think of a popular TV program now that.
I was thinking of like when I was younger, I used to watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the
Sure.
Indian version of it. And you
Wow.
used to ask at school the next day, "Hey, did you watch Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew the answer to that question, and you didn't.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And when there is something very popular, I
Yeah.
remember when some of you may know Fleabag, the TV program. So did you
Hmm.
see Fleabag last night? So, when something is a real cultural talking point,
Hmm.
then you can use this expression.
Hmm.
Okay, so Monica is on fire. Thank you.
Oh
So
yeah.
the next one, what do you think about this weather? Absolutely. Yeah. So again,
Yeah. Oops, sorry, you're not
usually
supposed to see that.
again, normally complaining about things, that is often an invitation to complain, or to say, I love it, it's great. So it's an
Yeah.
easy way to give an opinion about something. Thank you.
Do you know the North Africa?
Yeah, the north of.
Well, north of Africa. Yes, the north of Africa. Okay.
Hmm.
And yeah, this is not a question that I would ask, I
Hmm.
guess. Never been
No,
Northern
I I
Africa.
have I have sometimes asked students, do you know the UK? After I say
Hmm.
I am from the UK. So maybe
Oh,
it's a way to talk about your experiences and invite
hmm.
someone to connect with you on that.
Oh, sure.
So you would probably, I would use this question when you have mentioned, oh, I went on holiday to Egypt
Hmm.
or something.
Hmm.
So there has to be a reason you ask it.
Okay,
But it,
yeah.
it is a useful way to put questions, I think. Do you know? Because it's very neutral.
Hmm.
Okay, great
Yeah.
answer, Monica.
Okay, so the next one, again, Monica did it again. Do you prefer red or white wine? Yes.
Hmm.
Okay. So Beatrice said, I'm from Modena. My town is not so big, but there's everything we need. Oh, I've heard about Modena. I think it's near
Mm.
Bologna, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Emilia Romagna, I think.
Hmm. Have you ever been?
I haven't. No, I've heard good things about it.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and Monica, you're right. You can say, have you ever been to Bermuda? I would like to. So you're right. Can be a context of, I have been somewhere. Have you? Or, yeah. And it can be saying, I really want to do
Sure,
this.
sure.
Do you know anything about it? That's great.
Hmm. Okay, great job, Monica. So have you met my colleague Eveline?
Hmm. Yeah, maybe an introduction or a way to or a way to talk about mutual friends, depending on the context. But again,
Hmm.
have you
Oh,
met or do you know are quite nice ways to introduce people.
yeah. Oh, I was right. So Modena is near Bologna. Great.
Great.
I have been in Bologna though. I think it's a really nice city. It's much smaller than Milan, but really nice.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Although I
must.
went in summer and it was like really boiling hot, but other than that, it's lovely.
Hmm. Yeah, when we can travel again, maybe.
Yeah.
So we just have the final question, which actually is one context when maybe I would talk about music.
Hmm.
Because normally, as I said, this is not a topic I would introduce, but in this case, um, because I quite often, if there is a song playing in a shop, sometimes I will say, "Wow, I haven't heard this song in a long time," or "Wow, I had forgotten about this song." If it's a famous song that I know a bit, just as a point of
Hmm.
connection or as a joke. Um, so
Sure.
I, so I think we might need to give the answer to this
Hmm.
one.
So the question is, do you know the song playing now? So if you're meeting up in an event and there's a song playing in the background, you
Mhm.
may want to ask this.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think that's a nice question. It's again very neutral. Maybe you're interested in the song and you want to know what it is. Um, or
Hmm.
maybe you are just trying to find a connection with someone. Maybe it's bad music and you want to make a joke. It's all
Yeah.
it's all about context, I think, with these
Yeah,
questions. Beatrice, you
definitely.
just got there with the questions well. Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe we should wrap up because we're running out of
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any last minute questions, you can post it. So
Mhm.
basically, it's time for goodbye.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for all your contributions today. Some great answers. We like to hear from you. So
Yeah.
have a lovely evening, everyone. We'll see
Okay.
you
Bye,
next
Monica and
time.
Beatrice. Have a lovely evening.
Bye.
Bye.